right, welcome back to Running Through the A. This week we have two very special guests from the Razorback softball team. We have B. Franklin and Grace Barbara. How are you guys?
Good, thanks. Thanks for having us.
Doing well. Thank you.
Yeah, we're excited about this one. This is nice for us. I guess let's start at the beginning. Where are y'all from?
Grace, go ahead.
Yeah.
I am originally from a small town in Pennsylvania called Yardley, Pennsylvania. And then most recently, my parents and I have relocated down to their hometown and where they grew up and met down in Delray Beach, Florida.
Okay.
And then I'm from Seattle, specifically Ballard, Washington, but it's just also kind of a small little neighborhood of Seattle, like 20 minutes away from the University of Washington, 20 minutes away from downtown, with some great views of the mountains and the water.
So was soccer always like you guys' number one sport, or did you guys play other sports and then soccer kind of became the main one, or how'd you get into that?
I've always loved a ton of different sports. My dad is a huge skier, so I snow skied a bunch growing up, and still do today, carefully, not send any huge cliffs or anything. But and then I also played basketball and tennis and just did anything I could really get my hands on, honestly.
Is your family athletic? Like, did your family all play sports and all that?
My dad rowed or did crew in college at the University of Washington. Cool. And then my mom is really athletic, and she was a musical theater major in college, so she danced a ton. But then played played sports all growing up, and then played co-ed rec leagues and stuff. When she was a lawyer, which was really fun. They've got loads of funny stories about that. And then I have an older brother that currently plays baseball in the Atlanta Braves organization.
Yeah, we saw that. He's just recently drafted, or I guess 2020. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Good for him. How's he doing? How's that?
He's good. He's coming back from having to get Tommy John surgery.
So
but he's a couple months out now, and it's going well. So I'm excited to see him play again in spring, hopefully.
It's awesome. Very competitive family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Grace, what about you?
I played basically every sport under the sun growing up. I think I lasted in dance for one day. I was like, this is absolutely not for me. But I stuck with lacrosse for a while, and I actually did decide my freshman year of high school whether I wanted to pursue lacrosse or soccer D1. Inevitably chose soccer and don't regret my decision at all. But I played basketball, I played tennis. I'm not as good as B at either of those.
You don't know that. We haven't
out of the court yet. And in basketball, I would just foul everyone. So those didn't stick very much. But soccer and lacrosse definitely did.
Funny story. My sister was not aggressive at all in basketball. So I came to the point where I would pay her $5 per foul that she got to try to get her more.
Oh my gosh.
You sound like Colby Hale.
Yeah.
Yeah, so both of you guys are transfers. Grace, you are out of eligibility after this year, right? And then
Correct.
B, how much eligibility do you have left?
I'll have one more year after the season.
Oh, cool. Okay, so B, what brought you from Notre Dame to Arkansas?
Honestly, I was just looking for a different experience, one that was really going to challenge me as a soccer player. Mostly, I was really I felt like I was kind of getting stagnant where I previously was, and with Colby, that is not an option. And so after talking to him briefly, my transfer process, I think, happened within like 3 days. I was on the phone. I didn't see Arkansas or Fayetteville, had never been here before. Just, I guess, had a couple great phone calls with Colby and Sammy, and they talked about the program and things that I think hold true today about like how hard people work and that we'll do anything to win. And those were honestly things that just really spoke to me. And then whatever else was going to come with it was just something I was going to have to embrace and experience. And I was excited to be in a different part of the country with new people, and yeah, just with a really great soccer team.
Now, did Sammy come from Notre Dame as well? Is that right?
Yes, she did. Or she played there and then
right.
Coached a couple of different places and then ended up at Arkansas.
So did she kind of describe how Fayetteville is in a way compared to
Notre
Notre Dame?
She definitely, it was cool because she definitely could point out like the differences between Notre Dame and Arkansas.
Right.
Obviously like favoring towards Fayetteville now. But it was nice like with that like coming or being able to talk to someone who had experienced both of the places I was going between.
So what was your first, whenever you finally got here, what was your first like reaction of Fayetteville, I guess?
Well, I drove into town. I drove from that winter. I was driving back to Notre Dame with my parents from Seattle, and we were skiing at a bunch of different places. And once we got to Notre Dame, I had already decided to go to Arkansas. So then I just packed up my stuff and kept driving down to Arkansas. And it was in February. And I think Arkansas is a gorgeous place, but not really in the beginning of February, at least for me. It's pretty brown, and I'm used to evergreen trees, things like that. So I mean, as I was crossing the border into Arkansas, my mom and I were like, oh boy, where are we driving into right now?
And then you got to Fayetteville though.
Yeah. And then Fayetteville is gorgeous. It just the beginning nature part, I think I didn't get to experience as much until like later in the spring and summer, but that was probably my first experience at Fayetteville.
Yeah.
And then that week was actually like, this is I guess two years ago or a year and a half ago was when we had that huge snowstorm and everything froze. So a few days later, I had to drive my mom out to the XNA airport at like 6 a.m. and it was iced over. And the XNA airport's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that's a tough drive.
Yeah, and I at that time I had like an F-150 truck, and I swear the truck was like halfway off the road the whole time. It was so scary.
That was a crazy winter.
I bet. Grace, what about you? You went to Princeton, right?
I did.
Graduated from Princeton,
Yeah.
right?
So I graduated Princeton in May, and I knew I had that year of eligibility. Unlike a lot of other programs, Princeton didn't play for 16 to 18 months. So while Arkansas played a fall 2020 season with COVID and then also had the competition in spring of 2021, we didn't play at all. We weren't able to practice. We weren't able to be on campus or with the team. So I truly had that COVID year of time to reflect and think about what I wanted. And so I was like, I absolutely want to take my 5th year somewhere. I want to go somewhere new and experience something different and kind of like it was like the mentality of the team and talking to the coaches. It was just very starkly different from what I had experienced previously, where academics were at the forefront and athletics were just something that you were lucky enough to be able to partake in. Whereas here it's athletics are a priority. Obviously academics are as well, but athletics are much more of a priority than the Ivy League. So I wanted to kind of finish on that high note.
I guess both of y'all, how's the competition in the SEC compared to the competition of where y'all came from?
It's different. They're both like ACC and SEC are both incredibly intense conferences. There are some huge differences. I think that like every SEC or every play in the SEC like seems to be more intense like in that moment, I guess. Like there's a lot of, it seems like now watching games in the ACC, there's a lot of like dead time. They'll like swing the ball around the back and then they'll get forward and make some huge like great beautiful plays and stuff. But I feel like in the SEC, like every moment is like a game-changing possible moment where like this is 2 people going up for a ball, and like if that whoever loses, then they're going to be driving straight at the goal, and that could be a goal for that team. Whereas in the ACC, I feel like it is like, just like I said, like a little bit more
fast pace.
Yeah, I'd say.
I was at the South Carolina game in Columbia, and Colby seems intense. Is that a normal? And I remember him. Do y'all remember that yellow card he got there?
Yes.
That was amazing.
Oh, he loved your tweet after that, and then like.
Yeah.
And about him like slow motion walking off the field.
That was great.
And then
so funny.
We didn't even mean to do this, and we weren't trying to be jerks, but like we ended up calling the Hogs during their like alma mater song or something right at the end.
About that too.
Yes, exactly. And we were like, once we started, we were like, okay, we can't stop now. But we didn't exactly like, and
then Colby walked up like clapping in the middle of it. That was something. That was
I know. That felt like an Arkansas moment, kind of.
Yeah.
At least definitely. Arkansas soccer.
You're just trying to call the Hogs and get out of there. I mean,
yeah, we want to get our job. Let's go. Let's go the Hogs.
So Grace, you already have a degree from Princeton. What are you doing right now at Arkansas?
I'm basically just taking some more classes. My future academic life plans are to go to veterinary school or medical school. I'm leaning more towards veterinary medicine right now, but my heart is still passionate about general medical sciences. So I don't know. I'm probably going to apply to both. But Princeton was, well, it was a great education. We were a pretty small school, so we didn't have a lot of the prerequisites that you need in order to be eligible to apply. So I'm taking some funky classes right now that are kind of mismatched, but I'm taking like public speaking with a bunch of freshmen because that's a box that you need to
cool,
check,
though.
and some other stuff like that. So I'm just here finishing up those prerequisites.
Those classes are fun though. It's different. Like
Yeah,
you
they are
said.
fun.
Yeah. Are y'all in the hyper much?
Yeah, I go to the hyper a decent amount. Oh wait, for the classes?
For the classes, yeah.
Oh, I got none in there.
Okay. That's where I was a sports management major, and that's where all mine. So I was just
Yeah.
wondering.
Yeah, one of the girls on our team is doing there's a better term for it, but it kind of seems like PE teacher, but like but she's got a lot of what is McKenna studying?
Don't know what the formal term is.
Like
But she's got a lot of classes in the hyper.
kinesiology or something?
Yeah, maybe it's that.
Yeah.
We read something or I thought it was really cool. I think Will thought it was really cool too. Grace, in your little bio on the website, you did an orthopedic research on the effect of injury and how that kind of messes with mental health in players. I thought that was really cool. Did you have like an injury that made you want to do something like that, like research that, or?
Thankfully, no, I haven't, but I've seen a lot of people around me get affected by that.
Mhm.
And as a teammate, when you see a teammate who has a season-ending injury or has to medically retire, you feel so helpless and you don't know what to do to help them get out of that hole. And so at Princeton, I had a couple of teammates that happened to. So when I was given the opportunity to go out to Santa Monica and do research like that, I absolutely been at the opportunity and really enjoyed it. And I think that also in women's sports, it's super understudied, and the effects of mental health on injuries is a big knowledge gap. So I just wanted to help in any way possible and just learn a little bit and fill some gaps in that field.
That's impressive. Everything you just said is so impressive. B, you're the president of Razorback Student Athletic Advisory Committee. Can you
Mouthful.
what? All right, that is cool. But can you
This is
explain what it
president.
is?
Yeah, so pretty much it's like student government for the student athletes, and
Okay.
there's individual SACs at each school, pretty much across like D1 through D3, and then like across the SEC too. So I got the opportunity to go to like an SEC SAC convention during the summer and meet with the commissioner. And SAC pretty much just tries to uphold and like make sure that the experience of student athletes at each school is great and fulfilling, and anything that can be done to change that is SAC is like an opportunity to talk about that, and also gives us an opportunity to like give back to the community through community service events,
Wow.
and just try to be more than student athletes sometimes.
That's very cool. That's what I was saying in our introduction and like in our, I guess, teaser tweets. Like these two are very interesting. Like I'm excited about this. So
Yeah, I think Grace and I both like we love soccer, but there's also like other things we're definitely very passionate about, which is then kind of interesting. And I enjoy talking to Grace about a lot of things too.
That's cool.
Huge shout out to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this podcast. You can use code Runnin whenever you sign up and deposit your first $10, and they'll match your deposit up to $100. Underdog has different fantasy drafts for MLB, NBA, NFL. You can jump in at any time. They have all the sports, and it's a whole bunch of fun.
And then my favorite part of the app, I'm actually playing with it right now, but my favorite part of that app is the pick 'em, where you can pick. It has all leagues, NFL, MLB, NBA, college football, all of it. You can pick players like over unders or do rivals where X player will do more yards than another player. I don't know. It's really cool. It's you got to do at least two, so it's a 2-thing parlay. And yeah, use code Running, and their first time deposit will be matched. And all right, so let's get back to soccer. Do y'all have a favorite moment this year so far, or a favorite goal or a favorite save? I guess.
That's tough.
I'd say so far, like as a team thing, beating South Carolina was pretty awesome. Definitely like our biggest win this year, I'd say. Individually, scoring against Michigan State was really fun.
Yeah.
Just like a header goal off a free kick was cool. And but yeah, otherwise those were definitely my two favorite moments so far this year.
Yeah, I've got to agree. I think the win at South Carolina was one that put us back on the track. And that was a hard fought game. Like we earned that 1-0 win. Some of our other games have been like we can't finish, or like the game just feels like it's not going our way. But South Carolina, I think, was a really hard fought game. And so I would say that that's definitely at the top of my list right now.
So that was my first soccer game I've been to in a while, and after that, I became hooked and like watch y'all every time. So thank y'all for that game. That was a great game. So y'all are traveling to Bama. Has this week been different at all, knowing that it's such a big game?
I'd say maybe one of the differences is that we only have one game this week, so it's given us a bit more time to focus on Bama. Like normally we'd have a game on Thursday, so we've been able to. We haven't really looked at Bama yet. We've been focusing on just ourselves as a team for the first couple practices this week, but then starting tomorrow and Saturday will be some heavy prep for them. But I think that's probably been the biggest difference. Just knowing that we've got only one big game this week, so all our efforts are focused on that.
So y'all want to say there's more like pressure since it's like the number 2 team, or is it just kind of all right, we got Bama type thing?
I think it just adds the excitement. I think one of the best things about our team is that I know there's like that quote that you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to your level of preparation. And I think that quote is true in a lot of situations, but I also think that our team is awesome at getting amped up to play big games. I think that's when we shine the best, especially coming in. I don't know if we're exactly like the underdogs, but I mean, they're definitely ranked above us and having a great season. So it's really exciting just having huge opportunity to prove what kind of a team we are this year.
Bama's just another 3 points. Like every game in the SEC is worth 3 points. And we've been desperate for wins after the loss to Mississippi State. Like we need every possible win. And so like while B said, we don't have another game this week. So we're basically just focused on what's to come on Sunday. We've been training the same. We've been doing the same things. Like we're not just going to turn it on, and we're not a team that just turns things on for big games. We show up every game as best we can, and we put that effort forth in practice for any given week, no matter who we're playing, whether they're at the top of the SEC or the bottom of the SEC, because 3 points is 3 points, and we need every point that we can get inevitably.
Will you explain that more a little bit? Every game is worth 3 points. Are you saying that's like the average amount of goals scored in the SEC games?
So in the SEC, everything is on a points basis. So you get 3 points for a win, 1 point for a tie, and 0 points for a loss. So whoever has the most composite points. Yeah. So whoever has the most composite points at the end, both East and West combined, wins the SEC title outright. And then obviously if there's some ties, there's some tiebreakers that I won't get into. But basically Alabama's 3 points ahead of us. And because they're undefeated. So if we beat them, then we'll have equivalent points, and then we would technically beat them head to head. But we'll deal with that. We'll cross that bridge when we get into it.
One day at a time.
Exactly.
So I know y'all are traveling this week, but being in Fayetteville, the crowds have been really, really good. Even this year and last year, I'm pretty sure they had great crowds up there. So what is the crowd factor like whenever it comes to playing in Fayetteville? And we've had 5 straight shutouts. So
just in the past, like this year, in the past couple of years, like we don't lose at home, which is really exciting. And definitely a home field advantage is something I feel super strongly at Arkansas, especially compared to like previous schools I've been at, or especially like in high school or anything like that. But y'all know, but just like the Razorback fans and community is something that's so special and so strong and kind of crazy. I mean, even like I've joined Twitter a bit more this year, which is dangerous, but super exciting. And like, even when I had a birthday like a week or two ago, and I got all these tweets from random Razorback fans just saying happy birthday. And that's something that seems so silly, but then like all those people are coming to our games every weekend and not just sitting there watching, like they're cheering, standing, yelling, calling for a foul, amping up Colby, like they're doing anything. So definitely
Arkansas Twitter's crazy.
it's fantastic.
It's
So
the thing. It
entertaining. Yeah. We'll see how it goes. I bet Grace will stop a couple shots. Hopefully we'll get a couple goals.
Hope so.
Yeah.
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 Can I ask y'all a question real quick?
Yeah, please.
So how did you two guys like partner up for this podcast?
It's a good
So
question.
Will runs the FQ Arkansas account
Right.
on Twitter, and back in January or December, he had like tweeted something about like if anyone would want to write for fifth quarter. It's a whole sports website, all that. And I messaged him. So we started kind of like becoming friends here and there and talking, and I wrote for them a lot. And then sometime in the summer, we started, I think after softball, I'm a big softball fan person. And after softball, we kind of started talking about a podcast, and I had been interested in doing one. And Will's not a podcast guy. He's not a show your
I'm
face
not an
guy.
on-camera guy, and Sydney taught me into it, but I'm so glad.
We just started talking and we became really close. And now I talk to Will more than I talk to anybody. We're working all the time, but we just ended up figuring it out and then deciding we wanted something different. Like we didn't just want to talk about what's going on this week in football, like stuff like that. We wanted to talk to the players and kind of give you guys a platform for fans to know you guys better, because not a lot of people do that. There's a couple other podcasts, but not a lot of people can do like a chill conversation and get to know you guys. So it's working.
Yeah, y'all are 7th one, our first soccer win. So we're trying to dive into every sport. We don't want it just to be the football, basketball, baseball. We want every sport, and the vibes in Arkansas across the board are so high. So I feel like this is a really good, and we're working on it. Like we're obviously still learning as we go, but we feel like this is like a good time to do something like this, and it worked out. Sydney and I work well together, so yeah, that's what we did.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, I guess this is it. So thank y'all so much for coming. Good luck on Sunday.
At 11 a.m.
Thank you.
At 11 a.m. So thank y'all.
Yeah. Have a great rest of your day.
Y'all too. Good luck.